super old school Asking Alexandria sound with the lows. Girth. Alrighty, folks. So today we're gonna do. I don't know why I was talking like that. Welcome back. So we're gonna do a studio breakdown session of Two Minds in One. Fantastic intro. Hell yeah, let's go. So, Two Minds in One. This was originally a demo that wasn't even close to being finished for Down and Dirty that I made with Matt. That had completely different lyrics. The riff is the same. Some of the drums are the same, but like most, and the second verse breakdown pattern is the same, but I completely remade the song to be for bots. The lyrics I ended up using for my solo project, like Blind and Crossed, or is the most recent one that I put out, which is already years ago. But I used it for a different song. And then when we needed a song for bots. So if we go into this song here, remember, this is not the mixing session, so everything is all over the place as far as compression and volume stuff goes. I tried to make it relatively leveled, but anyway, so it started here. It's like with the scream and everything. I'm like, I feel like it kind of needs an intro, something to build. So then I was like, ooh, it might be cool if we make it sound almost like the band is playing in a different room. And then it's like you open the door to the show or something. So unfortunately, in these stems, the guitars don't have the effect on them. Yeah, it's just the actual guitar tone. We put like a bounce of the drum kit, and then we put that like filter on it to make it sound less quality and more almost like a phone quality thing, but in a different room. But then on the fill, have the actual drum kit fill, so then it blended, it like whoom, went into it. The only like thing that I changed from the original Down and Dirty demo too is the tempo, because Matt is a really freaking good guitar player. So he came up with this riff, but it was like 5 or 10 BPM faster. It's like it was way faster. And when I was trying to track the riff for this song, I'm like, I can't play this riff that fast. I need to slow it down. But the plus side was, I think the song sounds better at a slightly slower tempo too. Oh yeah, I wanted that like a drop on the guitar. And then we just got this cool slam sound. It almost has like a distortion like sound on it. Kind of cool. And then throughout this entire riff, if I took away this pad, I don't even think you would notice the difference, but which again, it's not mixed. So if this was actually mixed without any stuff going on in the background, it'd sound better than it does right now. But I felt when I was writing, it was missing something. So I added this pad. And I just have it on a loop. If I can remember correctly, I didn't edit it too much, but whatever the sound was from, it's just one note. And then I just added the tremolo stutter sound to it, but it already had the, it already had that as the sound of the pad, but then that wasn't doing enough for me. I wanted like movement, so the stuttering effect. But not a harsh one where it's actually cutting the sound and then turning it back on. It's not harsh, it's just like ducking the volume, but like really, really fast. So I thought that was cool. Okay, so I love that drum fill. The little like ding 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 on the ride. Like a China hat, China crash, ride, something like that. Ding 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 ding. Ding ding. But then at this part in the song, I wanted to change the drum. The drums are the only thing that change. So if I take away these tracks and it's just the drum and guitar bass. The guitars and bass were still doing the exact same thing, but I felt like this is the part where we need a sense of progression, which is my main theme here, that it was starting to get boring. You understood it was a fast, heavy song, but it was just getting too repetitive, but I didn't want to go into a new section. So just changing the drums makes it feel like a different part, or it's like moving somewhere. Wish you could hear those cymbals and the ride hits a little better. God, the drums on this song are crazy, dude. All right, I'm gonna pause and check up on chat here for a second. Yeah, wherever I left off. The drums. So when I was writing this, like right there on that, I just like, in my head, the guitar's like, ding, 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 ding. I wanted a snare count that represented that. But notice how this part, it's still cool, it works, but it's, because the snare count's the only thing that changes, so it's like, it's moving somewhere, but it does feel a little empty. That's where background stuff comes in play, as always. So we got this slam right here. Oh, that's just a big old bass drop. Boom. So this piano, this was sick. I'm pretty sure just the main notes are in key with this song, but the little filler notes, I think they're technically in a different key, because it was just like kind of random notes. They sound good together, but that's what gives it like an eerie feel. But the reason it has the sound is because this was written for the original Down and Dirty demo, and that was at a faster tempo. And since this is slower, it had to get stretched. And I didn't have the original source MIDI file for this. So it's just the piano file, but stretched to this slower tempo. That's why there's like a weird sound to it, but I think it actually adds to the vibe I was going for. And then we also have this choir. This was sick to build. which I'm pretty sure just follows the same root notes as that piano section. So this sound effect, I think this is sick. That was when I was going to make a lead for this part. I plugged in my guitar and the record button was on, so it picked up the sound of it plugging in, and a lot of times like the metal connecting makes a sound and feedback and all this stuff to the interface. But when I did that and the delay and everything that happened with it, I'm like, that actually sounded, that was a cool sound. I really want that. So I actually pressed record so it would capture it. And then when this part came in, I just, on the high E string, it's open, and then I just tap a note and hold it. So then I plugged it in while I did that note. So there was like it wasn't just that, like all the strings making noise. It was like just this note plus the feedback was happening. So without that, it still sounds cool. But adding this in, it just, I don't know, it was a nice texture to me. Again, it's not mixed, it's louder in the mix. Maybe I should boost it so you can hear it more. Like, it just sounds chaotic and weird, which is what I wanted. Especially because before I even had lyrics, musically, the emotion, the feeling that I wanted to get out of it was like sanity breaking, like emulate Morte Adabo by Asking Alexandria, except I knew I didn't want it to be a religious song because then that's literally copying them. But it's just, there's so much tenseness in the music side of that song that I wanted to like create that for myself. But adding just a weird sound like that, I think really glued it all together. So in the verse, we have like a few bars of fast snare count, and then that repeats for another few bars, and then we change the snare count for a few bars, but instead of duplicating that again like the first half, I wanted it to feel more heavy, like almost a breakdown, but not, because I still wanted the riff to keep going. So it's just the drums changing is what makes it feel heavier to me. Because it's playing its own kick pattern now. Dude, I love writing drums. It's so... And that's the last thing before we jump into vocals for the verse, is transitioning into this chorus. I think I added like a quarter of a bar, because normally it'd be like, that's where it should be. I think so. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, maybe I cut a bar. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's what it was. So a half bar. It should go. That's where you would think the chorus is going to hit, but I added just to slightly subvert expectation. But yeah, I like that it wasn't just the extra little on the snare. I think adds energy. Okay, so then on the vocal side, we have the main scream, just a yeah. But then I really wanted it to have emphasis. So it has, I did it again, but on a super distorted channel. adds like a little shimmer to the top.
Become a force of nature. Left everywhere. You can try to run, but you crave the feeling. You think you pass down the power when you serve.
So part of me feels like I wish I would have added more voice going in and out of a scream instead of it just being constant high scream. But I do think it works for this though, because it is a very chaotic, intense part. I really wanted that. And really needed a low on that, on just that line. That would give it super reckless and relentless era Asking Alexandria vibes. Everywhere. I love that. Everywhere. Where? Instead of just everywhere. Everywhere. And I wanted to go from a high into a lower pitch. The power when you serve. Without the lifeless soul. Despair felt in their final breath. Oh, that was fun to record. It was so I was like emulating as if I was Mike Hironica or Devil Wears Prada playing Warped Tour. Pass out the power when you serve. Without the lifeless soul. Despair felt in their final breath. Pissed off sounding as possible. And then the layers. When you serve, without the lifeless soul. Despair felt in their final breath. Don't try to pull. Oh yeah, and then that's where Cody came in, because originally this was Logan's line. Don't try to pull away and forget what we are. But just on that line, I wanted more width, so we added a layer, like a just basically the same thing. Try to pull away and forget what we are. You know what we've done. There's so much yet to come. Don't run. And then that I wanted a pitch shifted low to make it sound evil, like the demon is trying to talk to the guy. Don't run. What else we got going on here? This I feel is a very important thing that we added. If I take this away. It works, it's fine, but I'm a sucker for filler lines to connect things. That's not even time on line. Just repeating the line, but in the background, I think really helps bring stuff together. And also I think, and I feel like old Ask Alexandria did that a lot too. But I think that's sick. And we just got some delay throws. Forget what we are. There's so much yet to come. All right. And originally this was all just me. I think we ran out of time with the recording session, and so Logan flew back home, and then we needed one more song because the material wasn't long enough. It didn't hit the 30-minute mark for the contractual length that we needed for the record with the label. So I wrote Ishimura, did all that by myself. It was all just me because we didn't want to pay to fly Logan back in and do a couple screams kind of thing. And then this chorus, it was like it didn't really make sense to have him fly in just for 2 lines too. So I just did it all. But since we were redoing it with Cody, it was like, oh, okay, this is sick. Let's have Cody do it. But before we get into that, just the guitars without the leads. Just a chord progression. I like that chord. It's like 2 of the notes stay the same, but then just the low note changes, so it has like a dissonant sound. But these guitar leads are sick. Really fast, ambient. I loved the reverb sound when I like stopped the string. I just thought that was cool. So I'm like, technically it's a mistake, but I like it, so I'm gonna keep it in there. And then this was really cool too. I was trying to emulate GHC because the chorus in GHC has a really cool clean guitar that plays a similar style like this. So I wanted to emulate that feeling. Sound like it. Oh, yeah, before we do that, the very ending of the chorus, I really wanted to go from melodic back into heavier. So sliding up to that note and giving it a little wiggle, feel like gave it some energy again. And plus the drum fill was like really fast too. Yeah, just a hi-hat and snare roll. That was cool. But tracks, we got a slam, a riser, gunshot, I think. Oh no. I really like the low pitch. I think that helped really bring the chorus in because it's so chaotic and heavy, and then really melodic and atmospheric, huge sounding. I feel like that sounds cool together. And then a pretty piano. Which is used later in the song, but that's going on in the background of the chorus. And then this choir. Oh, that's right. This exported weird, and we didn't catch it. So technically in the first chorus, there's a hiccup. Notice the waveform, there's a gap here. And then in the second chorus, it's not. It's not supposed to cut. It just glitched on export. Not supposed to be a thing. Yeah. Okay, so vocals. We got a main.
I know it hurts.
We got we got layers. Oh, my vocal is a layer. That's cool. But it has a format shift on it because I think my tone that I had originally tracked was similar to the delivery that Cody did. So then it almost felt like it was competing for space. So then when we shifted the tone of mine, it made it a little brighter to not compete so hard. And then what do we have? We have scream. Those aren't screams. Those are just the left and right layers. These are actually doubles. And this is technically a double. Interesting. Okay. A little mislabeling there, but all good. We got a low harm.
I know it hurts. I know it hurts.
Oh, so I'm not even doing a low octave of the lead. That's just a low octave actual harmony.
I know it hurts.
And then the falsetto, I think, is a high octave of the main melody.
I know it hurts.
The falsetto gives it like a bit of softness, subtle softness feeling to it when it's all stacked together. And we got an actual harmony.
I know it hurts.
I was going for like a wage war. For some reason, I was like getting Cody Qstead vibes on that harmony.
I know it hurts.
So you get all those harmonies together.
I know it hurts.
And then you put the mains on there.
I
And then I wanted this line still in the chorus, but I really wanted it to be like soft.
But you were never meant to escape.
That I really tried to force that out. I felt like that like was the delivery that I wanted.
But you were never meant to escape. But you were never meant to escape. But you were never meant to escape.
And then what's the harmony on here?
But you were never meant to escape.
Just a low octave and then a falsetto.
But you were never meant to escape.
Mm-hmm.
But you were never meant to escape.
Then we go back to Cody.
Find peace in death.
Yeah. Oh, I love his distortion that he can do. His dubs, and then I think this is still mine layered in.
Find peace in death.
Yep. And then harmony.
Find peace in death.
Really low octave.
Find peace in death.
Falsetto.
Find peace in death.
That was a high harmony for me to hit.
Find peace in death.
But that high harmony adds so much.
Find peace in death.
And then this was the big note, right? So on my main, because I was like, dude, I really want like an Architect style vocal for this part, but I was like trying to figure out how to do it. So this is like when I was figuring out how to do that sound, because it's not even like singing, it's just making a sound. Like that's how I had to think about it. Like it's a note, but it's just making a sound, but in a pitch. Then you do a double and a layer. Sounding huge. Then you got the low harmony. Then you got another harmony. Is this? Oh, this is very, very clean and whiny. And then we got a scream layer to make it sound even more distorted. Like trying to scream in that pitch was interesting. And what's this? Oh, that was just an actual high scream. So you got a scream kind of pitch, an actual scream, a harmony, like a high octave whiny harmony, low octave harmony, and then just multiple takes of doing the same thing. Then you got... And the fact that the guitars end on that note too, I think adds to the effect. And then I really wanted to repeat that line, but like super old school Asking Alexandria sound with the lows. Girth. Just one of them. Girth. And then I wanted a width on that to help it stand out from such a big chorus. Girth. So this was already part of the original demo, was the guitar switching. But Matt had a different riff and I could not figure it out. I could not figure out how to play it. So I took the premise of his and I made it simpler into something I would write on my own. But his was like it was way more technical and crazy. It was cool, but I was like, I can't figure this out and I can't play it, so I'm just gonna rewrite it into something I would do. So it's not as technical, but it's still cool. And on the snare, and we got to slam and go back into those pianos and that pad. And the difference for this verse too was the solid double kick. Instead of just ketu, 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 ketu with the kick snare, kick snare, kick snare, I wanted solid double kick to make it feel like it's even crazier. Yeah, so that was cool. The guitar effect here. So I did a pitch drop, which is the same thing that's at the beginning of the song. But I wanted a different sound for this one, so then I actually went into the waveform after I printed the drop, and then I just chopped up the guitar file. You can see it. And then instead of it just going right back to regular pitch in a chug, a very like millisecond long like pitch shift back up. And I love the doom, the hit on the snare or on the tom, but then it's the kick right after it. Instead of just doom, it's doom. Anyway, just the vocals.
So, boys and one. If you want me gone, grab the knife and cut me out.
I love the way Cody did it. Out.
Cut me out.
Out.
Grab the knife and cut me out.
I didn't have as much of a t on mine, but mine's way quieter. But the delay adds so much of this part. If I take this off, still cool, but that delay throw, it's so like old school metalcore, dude. I like how it cuts to just the snare there. So this whole pattern for this whole the dun 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 dun, the pattern of it is what Matt made. I added in the and that part too, where I cut it and then it's like a double kick onto the tom, and then this part's really cool. It's probably my favorite part of the song, musically speaking. There's so much going on underneath. So if I get rid of vocals, so just the tracks, we got another slam. This is a percussion. I think this is from Damage, is the plugin. And it's just like these hits that I just added extra distortion on, but I think it was like a loop in the plugin already. But that rhythm adds a lot. Because I wrote this for the Down and Dirty demo, and this was the only thing happening originally. So it's still cool, but we didn't have vocals. This is like where the original song, we never finished it. This is as far as we got, was this breakdown here. So when revisiting it, I'm like, okay, we don't have vocals here. This is where vocals come back in. We're going to need more going on. This could be really cool to go lean into that Morte Dabo thing again, where there's big orchestra and everything. So there's a piano. And I wanted to emulate the same stretched audio sound that the other piano had. So I just added a bunch of filters and distortions and stuff on it. That one note is cool. And right into pretty. We got a cello. Oh, there's a glitch in there too. Damn, not supposed to be there. So it's two cellos. did cut that on purpose because I wanted there to be not as much low end for just a second. So then when the chorus hit back in, it felt bigger. Otherwise, it just blended too much. So cutting the cello on just that bar, I think, helped with that. But yeah, there's a melody in the cello and then just a low cello just doing the root notes under that. And then tuba. Like army music, like it's battle, like Lord of the Rings or something. And this is mainly what you hear, I think, in the actual song is the violin staccato melody. So I think it's just the main violin going and a very high note comes in on every beat. Yeah, so it's just on that little lick. Otherwise it's just one note. And then choir, last thing going on. I love writing this type of stuff because when you're looking at the grid, it's like, oh, there's like a three-part harmony, but then on the next note, just this one will go down one note, the middle one will stay the same, and then this one will go down two, and then it can give it like a totally different type of eerie sound. So a lot of the notes are staying the same, but others are barely changing. Because I had a men's choir and a women's choir, so then I was getting the full spectrum going on for this part. But then I remember just on the second half, that really high, that was its own choir pack as well. I think it was just one vocal, like a vocalist pack. And I just had the vibrato really loud and really intense, but I felt like that added to the progression of it too. So sick. Yeah, without all that going on, still cool, but love that breakdown. I also liked the writing that we did for like the U going in that pause. So coward right on the hit. I really wanted voice in that. And I didn't want it to be the same type of high scream. I feel like it was getting repetitive. I wanted a little bit of dynamic. So that's a little lower pitch, but together. Yeah, I love his delivery on that.
I love it. Love it. You crave it. I love it. You crave it. I'm not the only one.
What's this one?
I love it.
Just a little lower, yep.
I love it. You crave it. I'm not the only one.
Okay, I layered on him with a distortion layer.
I'm not the only one.
All right, so originally I remember this was Logan's part, and I think it translated better with his tone of screaming, but I was going for like a COD Zombies sound, because it's like the scream and then a layer that is the same pitch, but it's shifted a little off. Yeah. So yeah, it was like main scream and then another scream, same pitch, but the shift was a little different. So instead of yeah, it was like yeah. And then we did another layer where that was actually pitch shifted down and then format shifted up. So the tone was way lower, but the delivery sounded shinier. So then when all that was like stacked together, it sounded just like the sounds that COD Zombies make. But I tried to recreate that effect with my vocals, but I don't think it translated as well.
Pray for mercy when you're the one in the driver's side and never see the reality that you are made.
So that's my main, and then the layers are. So you put them together. Yeah, it's not even time aligned. Wow.
When you're the one in the driver's side and never see the reality that you are made. I'm not the one that control it.
Yeah.
I'm not the one that control it. Was all. I'm not the one that control it. Was always you. Always you.
Damn.
Control it. Was always you.
Big layer bringing that back in. And it's the same thing for the next chorus. And then just wanted to do a different styles of the same fine piece in earth. But like a held out mid scream sounded better. I added this in. It's just all the chorus vocals bounced out as one file and then pitch shifted down and added reverb to it. So this is going on in the background. Like I really liked how the shifted sounded in the background. Yeah, so the choir from the chorus is still going, the piano's still going. And then the guitar leads are still going. The only thing that changes really is the drums start playing a pattern that follow the guitars. And this was cool. I liked this pattern because I'm pretty sure nothing repeats. It took a long time for Cody and Paige and Max to like get that rhythm down because it's almost unpredictable. But once you get it, which I thought was really cool about it because it's like it has a flow and a groove, but normally simplicity is what gives something a groove. But this is like pretty intricate with like the pattern, but it still works. And this was tacked on. The whole ending was tacked on. I'm so glad we did it. Because that was going to be the ending. It was just going to fade out. But then I'm like, dude, okay, do I do something fun here? Something on purpose stupid. Let's bring it back to the OG days where you would throw a breakdown in at the end for no reason. 9 times out of 10, it doesn't even fit. The whole point is just one more breakdown because this is a heavy song. So I was like, okay, let's do something like that. I'm like, what do I do? So then I was trying to take influence from a lot of, so it's an old school idea, but a lot of modern deathcore for like the pattern and like just the overall vibe where the pauses were and everything, kind of Lorna Shore-ish. Not as technical, but that was kind of the vibe with this ending section. But I'm like, how do I translate it? So I just took the piano and shifted it down slowly so it reminded me of the ending of the Phantom off our EP, which was like a side note that I thought was really cool. How when creating this song, parts of the chorus, I was like feeling GHC. This ending, I was feeling the Phantom. There was like throwback moments for me. Another thing, the beat wasn't in here originally. It was just the piano. Because like I said, it was just going to fade out. But then when I'm like, oh, let me add something, I wrote the breakdown and then I'm like, this is kind of empty though, especially if we're going into a new section. So that's where I'm like, okay, let me do some, like a simple little percussion beat. So it's just like the snare, clap, whatever thing with a bunch of reverb. Then like this little hi-hat tambourine thing, ding, 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 with different velocities to give like a rhythm to it. Oh yeah, and I did the drop on the snare too. Because it wasn't even just... Yeah. Very cool. And then, so when we come in with these chugs, I take the vocals away for a second. Let me get rid of the tracks. So it was the solid double kick that I really was trying to... I was influenced by Lorna Shore. And I wanted it to just be simple, but I didn't want it to be open note. I wanted it to feel a little nastier, so it's that first fret OG metalcore thing. Oh, this. But on this one, I wanted really fast, instead of palm muted, chug, chug, chug. It's just like open string, I mean, on the first fret, but then just really fast strumming. But then the drums are also doing something different. Instead of just double kick in China, I like that too, is it wasn't like on a tom or just the snare. It's the hi-hat open so it rings out. Little ride splash action there. Yes, baby. And then keep the double kick, so then it's the same fast feeling, but then I wanted the chugs to be in like a cool rhythmic difference instead of just dun, 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 dun. And then adding the hi-hat on the offbeat, so it's chug, hat, chug, hat, chug. Instead of holding out the chug, jung, 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 pausing it for space for the kick, I think was cool. But what really brings this all together is the tracks. In the background, we have a beat that I want to create and make for a new song entirely, kind of like the intro synth that you hear for Enough is in the background of the ending of Peace of Mind. And what was the other? There was another thing. Oh yeah, and then there's like the strings or pad or whatever that's in the background of Powerless that's also used for Shame. I think there's another example too where I took something that I wrote for another song that's in the background. You don't really notice it too much, but I want to like take that and make it more of a focal point for a different song. So this is going on in the background of this breakdown, but I hear like this could be used for an entirely different song as like a main element. Like it sounds like the beginning, like with a like lo-fi guitar or something like, and building into something. That's going on in the background. Love that sound. It's like a dooka 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 dooka. And the snare count's a little cool. It was giving Linkin Park vibes to me. But then these are the slams that happen in the background. A lot of cinematic hits. That's why it sounds so huge. On that one, notice how so there's no reverse like riser on this one, but there is here, but there isn't here. So it's like just hits, comes back in, and smacks you again. And then a big long over the top bass drop, and then another reverse. Oh, I love that. That's like a movie trailer right there. And then the fucking glass shatter that we have, I think it's on a couple breakdowns in our EP. I remember, I know it's in Dragon Sickness, but I think so I'm like, wait, if this is already like a callback to OG crab chord, generic, whatever, we need to end it with just a really loud over the top glass shatter effect. Oh, and I didn't even forgot about this. There's ambience going on in the background. Oh, that's the beat. Yeah, just like distorted room noise and drone sounds and everything. But I really like that sound is so cool. So I specifically put that in the pause. So cool. And then vocally, it's just find peace in death in just different tones. Like I was trying to just be as metal as I could. That's Cody. That's me. That's me. And then that breath. I really wanted the breath in there. Wanted a different tone. Cody did the same tone, so there was some glue. I love that one. Because I knew I wanted to do a low scream in there. So if we had the mid, instead of also doing a low, like the first find on peace, if the main was a little bit of a different tone, it would give it a certain feeling when mixed with the low. Then we have just back to a super low. I think Cody did the same tone. Another low. And this has an extra layer on it, I guess. Oh yeah, because I wanted each part to have different tone and a different delivery. So then adding an extra pitch into there is what that was. And then just a long held out scream. Same thing, but with Cody. And then distortion. Then you get all those together. And And that is Two Minds in One. Bots went soft, right? I love how that's the ending of the album, and then Shame starts the album, and it's a completely different vibe. But yeah, that's what it is.